It's Jeanne Cartier, aka Strange Babe, and I don't know what Nico is doing. Anyway, I want to talk about the upcoming Libra full moon happening on March 20th. Now, not only is this going to be the full moon on this day, but the sun is also going to be moving into Aries, where it's exalted, where the new zodiac cycle begins. So we are really at a rebirth place right now. We are at the very end of a cycle and just teetering on the edge at the end of Pisces season, ready to blast right into Aries season. So let's talk about it. I'm going to light some Palo Santo to smooth out the energy and create a sacred space for us today. Hopefully my audio sounds better today. I got a different microphone going, so I think that should do the trick. So, it's a full moon in Libra. Now this is actually going to be the first of 2 full moons in Libra that we're going to be having this year, which is a rare occurrence. We usually only have 1 full moon in each sign each month. And by the way, BTW, little trivia tidbit here, the word month is based off of the moon cycle, a month. The moon cycle is about 28 days, and every month we have a moon cycle, and the months are named after the moon cycle. So there's that little tidbit in case you didn't know. So because this full moon is at 0 degrees of Libra, it's at the very, very, very beginning of Libra, so that the next full moon in Libra will be at the very, very, very end of Libra, 29 degrees. So that's interesting in itself. We have some big Libra lessons to learn. But this first one is going to be different from the next one. This first one, like I said, is going to happen the first day of spring, aka Astara. And that is a very important day in the year. It is whenever spring starts in the northern hemisphere, it begins a brand new zodiac cycle. Now, just for a little background info, I'm going to try to, I wish I could actually draw this so you could see it, but so during the summer solstices, right? That's where we experience the most light during the day. During the winter solstice is whenever it's the most dark. So imagine this top part of the screen being the time of light and the bottom part of the screen being the time of dark. Imagine these dualities, if you will, with me. Lightness and darkness, male and female, whatever you want to call it. The proverbial duality of light and darkness. Now, we are coming up out of winter, so we are about to hit that precipice, that place, that the line between where darkness meets with light in a sacred partnership, where that equilibrium of darkness and light is achieved, where we have the same amount of daylight as we do night. And this also happens whenever we have the fall equinox, but we're moving into darkness with that. So this time we're moving into lightness. So rather than going within like you normally do whenever we kind of go toward more of the fall winter seasons, when things get more a little bit more reflective and introspective, we are moving into the light. We are coming up bursting out of our seeds, just like all of the flowers bursting out of their buds, just like all of the plants that are going to be bursting out of the soil as the snow begins to melt and the sun shines down. And we are all in a rebirth period right now. There is renewal. We are refocusing ourselves. The Aries and Libra axis is a cardinal energy, so we are starting things. We're redirecting our energies. We're figuring out where to invest ourselves, where to assert ourselves, where to take action, what to create, what to build, what to grow. The year really gets started whenever we hit the equinox time, spring equinox. Whenever the sun moves into Aries, the year really gets going on the road, and so we are gonna get going on the road. It's time. And this sun in Aries is going to be conjunct Chiron, who just moved into Aries. And we will really be getting a true taste of what this Chiron energy in Aries is, what it really means. Chiron is the wounded healer, but it's also a shaman that can bring a holistic healing and turn any kind of wounds that you may have into gifts. It becomes a healing salve for others and for yourself. And if you want healthy relationships, Libra, you need to heal yourself first. Find out who you really are. Heal your sense of identity. Show up for yourself so you can show up for others. Empower yourself so you can empower your relationships. That's what this full moon is really all about. We are coming up face to face with some of our biggest wounds that hold us back. I mean, you can only ever meet someone as far as they've met themselves, and that has to do with you too. How far have you met yourself? You may know that you're wounded. You may know that you have some resistances to things. But do you just continue to stuff these under the rug or dissociate or pretend like they don't exist? Or do you address these things and accept them? That's the big important thing too here, okay? So like when it comes to our shadows, which we are being enveloped in as we move through Pisces season, it's a big time of coming face to face with our shadows. Now, the sun is moving out of Pisces and into Aries where there is more light, but Mercury is still going to be moving through Pisces for a little while. So our minds, which is what Mercury rules, is retrograde right now. Things are more reflective. We're rethinking, reworking, configuring the pieces of the puzzle together. And even though it's rather nebulous, we are actually figuring things out on a subconscious, internal, instinctive kind of level. There's a lot of magic going on in the unknown. Our dreams are very telling because they hold the symbolic metaphors needed to interpret in order to get a better understanding of ourselves. And Mercury is backing up into Neptune right now as well. And Neptune is the ruler of Pisces. It is the most, it has the concentrated energy of Pisces. Neptune is the god of the sea, god of the subconscious, our dreams, illusion and delusion and confusion and diffusion and it's where everything breaks apart into its pieces after a body decays and it kind of bits and pieces kind of decay and become one with the earth again. It then can be renewed into new form, right? This energetic alchemy of rising up from the ashes, the phoenix rising up, the rebirth. This is the energy that we are really being saturated in right now. We are all going through this. But as Mercury chills out with Neptune, and I believe he's backing up to Neptune and should get into a perfected conjunction with Neptune on March 24th, which is 4 days after the full moon. For 4 days, from March 24th to March 28th, whenever Mercury goes direct. Those are going to be very interesting days and very telling days. We're going to have a lot of stuff coming up to the surface. And if it doesn't happen around the time of the full moon, because full moons usually bring things to light, there's going to be a lot of stuff coming to light in the next few weeks for sure. So this has everything to do with subconscious motivations or things that you may have hidden from yourselves or even secrets that people are keeping, especially in relationships with this full moon in Libra. Things are coming to light. There's a kind of a karmic aspect to everything going on right now, especially as we begin a new cycle. So get honest and get true and get right and get real with yourself so you can be honest and true and right and real with other people so you can build authentic relationships with other people. You got to show up for yourself so you can show up for others. You also have Mars and Taurus that'll be trining Pluto and Capricorn during this time. So even though there's a lot of confusion, there's going to be an added element of direction and excitement that Mars and Taurus will help us to, and has been helping us to kind of focus our energies in a steady, determined way. But as it trines Pluto and Pluto, which is very transformational and intense and grinds in and does what needs to be done and puts in the hours that needs to be put in order to make things happen, we'll have the grit and determination to see things through. Wherever we choose to direct our energy, to dig ourselves out of whatever messes we may feel like we are in, we'll be able to do it. We're leaning into this earthy Mars and Taurus, trying Pluto and Capricorn energy right now. So, especially with Pisces season, kind of just like shifting things up, dust flying in the air. It's hard to see. Everything feels like a mess. You don't know your left from your right. You don't have many answers. Hang tight, hang through. You have the grit and determination within reach to just see this through. With Mars square Venus as well, so Mars in Taurus squaring Venus in Aquarius is a very creative and dynamic aspect that's happening as this is going on. And this is going to help us to resolve tension between the masculine and feminine forces as well. So this is another interesting aspect to have during a full moon in Libra, which is all about relationships. And traditional relationships are male and female, and generally when we, like, for example, like in tarot with the Lovers card, you have the male and the female, but really it just kind of represents the divine masculine, divine feminine, and those are those two polarizing forces, like light and dark, like day and night, or whatever you want to call it, that they can merge and come together. And what do you get? You create life from that place. You create life from finding the equilibrium and merging these polarizing forces together. So there really is this fascinating, creative, emerging of energies that's kind of happening right now. And even though Mercury is still in Pisces and still retrograding, moving back into Neptune, it will be sextiling Saturn. So that'll be bringing in some much needed. Saturn helps us to structure things, and Saturn is in its home sign of Capricorn, so it's super powered right now. And it's going to help Mercury to find structure for our thoughts. As Mercury backs up into nebulous Pisces for a psychedelic stay with Neptune, we will need a little bit of structure. So that'll be good. And then we also have Venus sextiling Jupiter, which is a very positive aspect, actually. They're both Jupiter and Venus are both considered to be the benefics, which means in astrology that they have energies that are rather just pretty beneficial and easy to work with. Venus is the planet of love and beauty and sensuality and the senses and all that gooey good stuff. And Jupiter is the ruler of expansion and higher thinking and luck and adventure, and this is just a very expansive energy. It's saying yes to the future, saying yes to freedom, saying yes to a higher order, saying yes to your own personal salvation, finding your worth in your salvation, freeing yourself from whatever it is that's holding you back, coming face to face with your shadows, accepting them, integrating them, and moving from an empowered, more whole sense of self, so that you can truly come into authentic alignment with who you are, so that you can truly manifest and create and build relationships with people who are authentically aligned. Because you are authentically aligned with yourself, you can truly meet people and they can see you. That's important. The most important relationship you will ever have with anybody will be with yourself. Think about that. And, this has been a dense, difficult Pisces season for lots of people, especially with Mercury going retrograde here. It's been chaotic. But this hasn't been all for naught. Mercury retrograde in Pisces especially helps us to tune in and check in with ourselves. And in Pisces, it brings our attention to our internal emotional landscapes and subconscious landscapes, the things that have been hidden from us or things that we may have hidden from ourselves. And we have been coming face to face with these things in one way or another, whether it be through dreams symbolically, or whether they've become, which happens a lot of times, it may actually happen during this Libra full moon. We come into contact with ourselves by the reflections that we get off from other people, right? So like the behaviors of other people oftentimes can be reflections of certain things going on with ourselves. Any fear that you've been coming across, any anxieties, all of this stuff isn't just there to, torment you. Fear and anxiety and depression, they're all tools. They're all ways our body, our beings express and communicate to us, hey, something is wrong. Hey, I have an internal resistance to this thing. That's a fear kind of thing. When you have a resistance to something. Now, fear is a good thing. It helps us, right? We wouldn't be evolved and alive humans if we didn't have fear. We weren't afraid of the tiger, and so we hid and ran from it, but sometimes our fear does hold us back, and we are, I'm sure very aware of this. And get honest about what your internal resistances are, why these fears have been coming up for you. What are you so afraid of, and why? And do you really need to be afraid? Do you really need to hold on to those resistances? Are they serving you? Are they truly serving you? Are they truly protecting you? Protecting you is what fear's biggest role is, to protect us. If it is not protecting us, and in fact just holding us back, it's not serving its role correctly. But it is still a tool in helping us understand what needs to be addressed internally. And we can only, and it's tough. It's tough to address these fears sometimes, because they're oftentimes things we don't want to address. Okay, I'd rather just keep that under the rug. I don't want to deal with that shit, But you got to at some point. You got to shine a light there at some point. You got to come to some understanding at some point, if you want to come to a more whole sense of self. If you want to have powerful relationships, these are things that we all need to do. For ourselves and for others. So this could be a very healing, even possibly cathartic full moon, especially with the Chiron energy, with Mars and Pluto working together here, and then Venus square Mars. There's some kind of cathartic release, understanding coming together, some kind of communion and communication. If there's been something that you've been needing to talk to somebody about, but you've been keeping it locked away, consider talking. This is about it now, because this is a good time. This is a good time for that, for sure. So, a few stones that I would suggest for this Libra full moon would be, well, of course we have rose quartz, which is a stone of compassion and love, self-love, but also in relationships. That's always a very good Venusian stone. Another great one, especially if you've been dealing with any recent breakups or are dealing with a breakup right now, any kind of recent heartache, rhodochrosite is a wonderful stone for that. If you can see it. It's a wonderful healing stone for that. I highly suggest it. And then we have, since we're becoming into these fiery Aries energies, the sun is exalted in Aries, so, oh, thank God, I'm a fire sign, so, woo, I'm ready for this fire to come back. Citrine is great for bringing in this fiery, enthusiastic, joyful, solar plexus act, kind of, the willpower, fire energy, sunny dispositions, all that good fiery stuff. I think citrine is a great stone. And then another one that I definitely do want to suggest would be any kind of grounding stone. Black tourmaline is a great one. It's also very protective. As we transition from Pisces season to Aries season, this is a big transition. And it's important that we feel grounded and safe and secure as we transition, because our attitude and the energy that we vibrate and put out there is what we will inevitably attract to us. So as we move into this next phase, maintain your vibe, stay grounded with the black stone, black tourmaline, smoky quartz, obsidian. There's so many. There's so many great ones. And also red stones like jasper are good as well. So yeah. That's for that. So let's pull a card. I won't make this video too long. All right, Libra. Full moon. Ace of Swords. Fascinating. So, new. Anytime you see the Ace cards, it brings in new energy. The Swords cards. So swords have to do with with air. Air has to do with thinking, ideas, clarity. So there's going to be some clarity. Answers are going to be answered. Questions are going to be answered. New mental opportunities and a mental awareness and clarity of where you should be directing your energy as well, coming in and coming through for us right now, for sure. So Ace of Swords. All right, guys. I think that's all I'm going to do for today. I hope you guys have an awesome Libra full moon, number one. And feel free to comment and let me know how you are doing through this season, what's happening in your life. If you resonate with the message, I'd love to hear from you guys. And if you're not subscribed, please do subscribe. Magic is real. And also follow me on Instagram and Facebook. I post stuff daily and I do little horoscopes and whatnot. So yeah. So I'll see you guys soon and love ya.